Ladies and gentlemen, yesterday we received some amazing news. The NFL is headed to Germany. Over the next 4 years, they will play one game each year, rotating cities from 2022 to 2025. I've also got some Kyler Murray news, and I've also got a Lamar Jackson contract update. What's going on with him? Are they going to have to franchise tag him? We're going to get into all of that. But guys, it got me thinking with, the NFL announcing they were playing in Germany, where would I want to see the NFL go next, for one game? This isn't like a relocation or anything like that. I know a lot of people have said, will the NFL give London a team? I personally think logistically you cannot do it. The time difference is too great. They would be at too much of a disadvantage. No free agents would want to go play for the London franchise. You'd have 8 road games. You'd have to travel back across the Atlantic Ocean to the United States with that massive time difference. So when it comes to an actual team in London or in another country, I guess you could go to Canada, you could go to Mexico, but in terms of like going to Europe or something like that, I think these are just specific games, and I love the idea. Personally, if I was the NFL, I would play 6 international games per year, all of the games except the Mexico game, which I agree with should be Monday night. All of the games would be in the morning. And I know the West Coast people get mad, they cry, they say, oh, it's a 6 a.m. start, whatever. It is what it is. That's just the reality of it. We're not putting, these games should be able to stand alone. You can't put a game in Germany at 1 o'clock, Eastern time with all the other NFL games. It should stand alone. It's an exclusive thing, and the NFL really needs to expand. And you've got all these cricket stadiums, you've got all these soccer stadiums, these massive soccer stadiums in Europe. It's extremely easy to turn into NFL stadiums, and it would make for a really cool, unique experience. I would have the 6 games be played, one game per week starting the last week of September going through October, or like the second last week of September. Now, guys, this is my list of unique stadiums the NFL could go to. Some of these a lot more realistic than others, but this is my list, starting with number 7, Camp Nou in Barcelona, Spain. It has a capacity of over 99,000. I think the NFL going to Spain would be an unbelievable experience. This soccer field, massive. This soccer stadium, absolutely huge. Could easily do it. It would be a complete spectacle. The NFL goes to Barcelona exclusively for 1 year. That would be my number 7 wish. Number 6 is Mabatho Stadium, located in South Africa. Look at this thing. It is extremely unique. It sits 59,000. Could you imagine the NFL at this diamond weird shaped stadium for one game in South Africa? Oh, it would be unbelievable. It would be unbelievable. Moving down to number 5, Eden Park, Kingsland, Auckland, New Zealand, capacity of 50,000. The NFL goes to New Zealand. Now, this is a location I really think, along with Barcelona, they could actually pull off fairly easily. The time difference is so great that the game could actually be played, at around 1 o'clock the next day, to where in our time zone, it would really only be like 7 o'clock at night, because it's like a 16-hour time difference in Auckland, New Zealand, and it'd be played at Eden Park in Kingsland. Number 4, now this one is unrealistic, but it would be such a spectacle. Rock Stadium, United Arab Emirates. Look at this thing in the desert. They would never do this because you're not, the capacity is small, but it would be so cool to see them turn this into a football field and to see 2 NFL teams play. What a spectacle that would be. And I guessed on the capacity. I don't know what the capacity is. I just said 15,000. It would be somewhere around there. United Arab Emirates. I do think they might go to Dubai. I do. That was going to be one of my places until I saw this stadium. But they might go to Dubai if they end up building a soccer stadium there. Number 3 is Koresko Stadium, located in St. Petersburg, Russia. I was originally going to have them go to Moscow. This one was probably realistic a few months ago. With Russia very likely invading Ukraine, United States and Russian relations will probably not be the best for the next few years, so I doubt they will be going to Russia, but this was definitely a place that could have been on the table a few years ago. Very unique. Same thing, they could go to Moscow. They've got some big soccer stadiums there, but it is a unique experience, the NFL in Russia. Number 2, Maine Garincha Distrito Federal, located in Brazil. The NFL goes to South America. The NFL goes to Brazil. Honestly, you take a look at South America, it's got so many remote places. I would love for them to just build a stadium just around the rainforest. How amazing would that be? But this is an interesting place. Seats over around 73K. Could definitely be supported. We could see the NFL. Rio de Janeiro. That's another place in Brazil. The NFL could definitely go to Brazil. And number one on the list, Croke Park, Dublin, Ireland. And no, I am not Irish. I've never been to Dublin, Ireland. People always ask me that, things like that. I've never been to Ireland, folks. I've never been there. But we know the NFL, there's actually like an option in Madden sometimes, at least when I played like Madden 13, Madden 14, they'd say you could put an expansion franchise in London, England, or Dublin, Ireland. So the NFL is going to get to Ireland at some point. I love these games at different places. The UK at this point has been drawn out. It's getting boring. We need to expand. I love that they're going to Germany, and the games should be at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You get the nice little morning breakfast. You get a little morning breakfast. You get two teams, and then you get the 1 o'clock slate. That's what I love. And really, we should have 6 of these games, hopefully all in different locations. You turn the soccer stadium, you turn the cricket stadium into an NFL field. It's not that hard. And it would be a clear spectacle going to Spain, going to New Zealand, going to Russia, going to Brazil, going to Ireland. This is an absolute global expansion for the NFL, and it would be unbelievable. Now let's get to some other quick news. There's not a lot of news right now, guys. I'll be honest. It's like right before the Super Bowl, so there's no news. But you take a look at this story that came out this morning on Lamar Jackson. Quote, "It no longer feels like a given that the Ravens extend Lamar Jackson before training camp starts," saying there's an obvious gap that exists between Jackson and the Ravens in terms of negotiations. Now, of course, the Ravens are not in any position to potentially lose Lamar Jackson. He's right now under contract next year. They picked up the option, so he's under the 5th year that you can have the 5th-year option on first-round picks. He's under that option right now. And then if worse comes to worse, they can franchise tag him for the next 2 years at around $40 million. So the Ravens probably just working out a contract. Lamar Jackson probably wants around what Patrick Mahomes got, like $43, $44 million. The Ravens are probably a little bit lower, maybe around where Dak Prescott's contract currently is. We'll see if they can agree. They've got a lot of time. And again, if worse comes to worse, they can just franchise tag him. The NFLPA did such a poor job with the whole thing where, these teams have control of a first-round pick for potentially 7 years due to being able to franchise tag the same player in back-to-back years. The other thing I wanted to talk about, Christian Kirk said QB Kyler Murray's future with the team will be a factor on whether or not he re-signs this offseason. So clearly Christian Kirk is, I don't know if he heard something, but he is questioning. He's saying, listen, I don't know if Kyler Murray wants to be here. We know Kyler Murray scrubbed his Instagram. He unfollowed the Cardinals, things like that. It just seemed like he was cleaning off his Instagram. I don't know, but there might be more to the story with Kyler Murray being unhappy in Arizona. We'll have to see. Christian Kirk saying, listen, I don't know. I might leave if he's not happy. I don't know if Christian Kirk knows anything, but I just thought that was interesting that came out. We'll have to see what happens with that. But guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you're following me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description. I'm, of course, the Depressed Ginger. Thank you for watching.